It guarantees that this education be accessible to all. Great job. Article Exiv, Section 1 is the accurate answer. What are the specific objectives of special education? Right choice. All of the above is the best answer. Lee is required at every EP meeting. The Lee is dash. Strong choice. Local educational agency is the right answer. A student identified SLALD has what type of disability? Nice selection. Specific learning disability is the correct and valid answer. A student's individual education program is reviewed. Excellent choice. Annually is the right answer. When did special education start in the Philippines? Good thinking. 1907 is the right answer. Which does not describe a self-contained classroom? Well done. Larger class size than a general ed class is the right choice. What are the cons of labeling in special education? You got it. Your choice hastened diagnosis leads to wrong services is right. In what settings can special education be provided? Nice work. You chose in a variety of ways and settings, and it is correct. What are the special education laws in California? Exactly. California Education Code makes sense, and it is right choice. Who invented the term special educational needs? Solid response. Mary Warnock is a valid choice. Who is considered the father of special education? You're right. Jean-Marc Gaspard Todd is the correct answer. What is the basic philosophy of special education? Well reasoned. Every individual is valuable and should have equal opportunities is the correct choice. Which of these is not a main part of IDEA? Smart move. Mandatory academic interventions is an accurate answer. The people who legally raise and care for a child. On track. Parents' guardians is the correct answer. How many special education categories are there? You chose 13, and it is correct. What are the steps in special education process? Correct response. Identification, intervention, and evaluation is the most accurate answer. What is the purpose of the exemptions worksheet? Valid point. Justify reductions in expenditure levels is true. What is the purpose of SE in special education? Nicely done. Extended school year. Preventing learning loss during long breaks is a solid answer. What is the setting of the story 20 years later? Good job. Your answer Special Education Center works well here. What was Public Law 94142 renamed in the 90s? Right again. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is a valid answer. According to IDEA law, what does IP stand for? Bravo. Individualized Education Program is the answer. Every child is entitled to FAPE, but what is it? Smart pick. Free appropriate public education is the correct choice. How do they call special education in Iceland? Correct. Special support is the right answer. When did special education gain more research? Sharp thinking. Post-WUI is the right choice. What is the purpose of the MO tracking sheet?
Great thinking. Monitor Mo expenditures using goal codes is the right choice.
What does FAPE stand for in special education?
Excellent. Free appropriate public education is a brilliant choice.
What special night is mentioned in this surah? Clear logic. Your choice night of Laylatul Qadr is sound and 100% true.
Are you a part of the special education team?
Well picked. Yes is the correct answer.
What is known as the Special Education Law?
Perfect. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is the correct choice.
Which is not true of an inclusion classroom?
Clear logic.
Your choice only for special education students is sound and 100% true.
Who is not a mandatory member of an EP team?
Great thinking. Psychologist is the right choice.
The key in using EP fact sheets is to dash.
Solid response. Highlight the necessary components of the EP is a valid choice.
What does law promote in special education?
On track. Inclusion of students with disabilities in regular classrooms is the correct answer.
What was the first special education law? Well reasoned. PL 94-142 is the correct choice.
Who is the Director of Special Education?
Perfect. Brett Frey is the correct choice.
In what year did special education begin?
Excellent. 1799 is a brilliant choice.
A related service should be provided dash.
Great job. When a child needs help to meet educational goals is the accurate answer.
Idea requires dash.
Exactly. Free appropriate public education makes sense and it is right choice. What is the meaning of the acronym FAPE? Right choice. Free and appropriate public education is the best answer.
What is the origin of special education?
Well done. Early 20th century is the right choice.
Socioeconomic status is not measured by.
Right again. Housing location is a valid answer.
In general, 504 plans are implemented by. Excellent choice. General educators is the right answer.
Special education services are most like.
Nice work. You chose a salad bar and it is correct.
Special education and dash are the same.
Nicely done. Specialized instruction is a solid answer.
Manifestation meetings are required by.
Correct response. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is the most accurate answer.
Who is the special education director? Good job. Your answer, Michelle Dye, works well here.
An integral part of collaboration is.
Bravo. Communication between general and special education teachers is the answer.
What does the acronym SALD stand for?
Strong choice. Specific learning disability is the right answer.
An important component of an IP is.
You got it. Your choice. The student's current level of performance is right. Which of these statements is false? Good thinking. Gifted students can get differentiation by helping other students is the right answer. Who is the member of the EP team?
Smart pick. All of the above is the correct choice.
Individual Education Program Team. Smart move. Admission, review, and dismissal is an accurate answer. Special education is governed by. Valid point. Federal law is true.
What does the term FAPE refer to?
You chose free and appropriate public education, and it is correct.
Special education is tailored to.
Nice selection. Meet the needs of individual students is the correct and valid answer.
Public Law 94 and 42 is called dash.
Well picked. Education for All Handicapped Children's Act is the correct answer. Rati addresses the following. Correct. Academic and behavior concerns is the right answer.
What is the full form of EP?
You're right. Individualized education plan is the correct answer.
What is education like now?
Sharp thinking is an inclusive education is the right choice.
What does FERPA stand for?
Great job. Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act is the accurate answer.
What is special education?
Sharp thinking. Free differentiated instruction for students with disabilities is the right choice.
What does METIS stand for?
Correct. Multi-tiered system of supports is the right answer.
What is the SNE program?
Nicely done. Special needs education is a solid answer.
Rati came from what law?
Perfect. No child left behind is the correct choice.
Special education terms.
Exactly. Handicapping conditions make sense and it is right choice.
Special education is a.
Nice selection. Service is the correct and valid answer.
UNESCO stands for dash.
Bravo. United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization is the answer.
FAPE stands for dash.
Clear logic. Your choice C. Free appropriate public education is sound and 100% true.
What does SPED mean?
Good thinking. Special Education Department is the right answer.
IP stands for what?
Valid point. Individual education plan is true.
Special day class?
Right again. STC is a valid answer.
IDEA stands for.
Nice work. You chose Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and it is correct. Children in SPED. You're right. Learn differently is the correct answer.
What is an EP?
Good job. Your answer individualized education program works well here.
LESS stands for.
On track. Least restrictive environment is the correct answer.
APE stands for.
Well reasoned. Adapted physical education is the correct choice.
What is LIE?
Well picked. Both B and C is the correct answer.
IDEA is dash.
Well done. A law describing the rights of students with disabilities is the right choice.
FAPE is dash.
You chose free appropriate public education, and it is correct.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format.
Excellent. Contact Narayan Changder is a brilliant choice.